When my CEO husband paid his young girlfriend, I annihilated his empire in one shocking night. The night started like any other until that unsettling message lit up my phone, casting a cold glow across the dim room. A flicker of betrayal danced in my mind as I read the words. Meet me at our usual spot. Don't be late. My hands trembled, heart pounding like a drum in my ears. The truth hit me like a thunderclap. My husband, the charismatic CEO I thought I knew, had a secret that could shatter everything that I rushed through the bustling city streets, the neon lights swirling around me, blending into a whirlpool of confusion and dread. My breaths came quick and sharp, every step echoing against the concrete as I replayed old memories, the laughter, the promises, the seemingly perfect life. But beneath that picture-perfect surface, darkness lurked. The rumors had crept in, whispers of late nights and mysterious phone calls, all dismissed as idle gossip. But now those whispers took on a chilling clarity. When I arrived at the deserted park, a chilling wind swept through the trees, exposing the bare branches like pointed fingers reaching for the sky. There he was, a figure of confidence standing under the flickering street lamp, laughter spilling from his lips, but it wasn't he for me. No, it was for her. My heart sank as I spotted a young woman, too young, with wide eyes and an innocent smile that didn't belong in his world. I felt the sting of betrayal like a knife twisting in my gut. A crowd began to gather, their murmurs climbing the air, thick with disbelief. People exchanged glances, wide-eyed, clearly captivated by the drama unfolding. Shock transformed into contempt among the onlookers as the connection between them unfolded. I froze, the chaos of emotions swirling inside rage, humiliation, a need for vengeance. And then I remembered, I was no ordinary woman. This was my chance to take back control. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With that burning thought igniting a fire within me, I calculated my next move. What if I unleashed a storm he never saw coming? The CEO, with his iron grip on everything, would soon learn that his empire was as fragile as glass. And I held the hammer. With a smile, a wicked thrill danced in my chest, knowing I had the power to rewrite this narrative. As they continued their flirtation, I plotted my path, unsure of what would happen next, but certain it would shake him to the core. What would I uncover in this web of deceit? What would be the price of my wrath? It was time to play the game. The night was just beginning. The air was electric with tension as I stepped back, blending into the shadows cast by the flickering street lamp. From here, I could see everything without being seen. Every laugh from his lips felt like a dagger, each shared glance a knife twisting deeper into the heart of my very existence. I gripped the edge of a park bench, knuckles white with rage. They were wrapped in their little world, oblivious to the storm brewing just a few feet away. That I had to think. He had orchestrated this betrayal under my nose, and it was time I used it to my advantage. The crowd around them grew, and I caught snippets of conversation. A woman, bewildered, whispered to her partner, "Can you believe this?" Another voice rang out with disdain, "Imagine doing that to your wife." Their shock fueled my drive. They had no idea about the full extent of my husband's lies. That I took slow, deliberate steps away from the park, my mind racing. The city glowed in the night, its chaos a cocoon I desperately needed. I needed to gather evidence, to lay the groundwork for my master plan. My phone buzzed in my pocket, but I ignored it. There were bigger things at stake than whatever mindless chatter filled my notifications. Back in the comfort of my upscale apartment, I flipped open my laptop, the screen illuminating my face like a spotlight. My husband's empire was meticulously documented online. Financial reports, company secrets hidden in plain sight, and transactions that could lead me to a treasure trove of dirt. I felt like a detective, on the brink of making a major breakthrough. I frantically scrolled through documents that revealed shady dealings, insider trading, and whispered conversations that could topple him. As I unearthed piece after piece, a sinister grin spread across my face. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about justice. He had betrayed our marriage, and in turn, it was time to tear down the very foundations of what he had built. The empire he had so carefully crafted would become a house of cards, easy to dismantle. Suddenly, the glow of my phone caught my eye again. Curious, I checked to see a message from a number I didn't recognize. My heart raced as I read the screen. I know what he has been doing. Meet me at the Crimson Cafe. I have information. What? Was it possible someone else knew? My mind flooded with questions. Who was this person? What could they possibly know? I felt my head spin. The opportunity for revelations was right at my fingertips, but stepping into the unknown was risky. What if this was a trap? I took a deep breath, the allure of answers calling to me louder than my fears. I had a decision to make. This might be my chance to dive deeper into his web of deceit, but it was dangerous territory. I could already see it a face-to-face meeting where secrets could unfold or deepen my despair. After a moment of contemplation, I grabbed my coat, vowing to uncover the truth once and for all. But as I stepped outside, uncertainty gnawed at me. I was about to enter a world far darker than I anticipated. What could this stranger reveal? And what dangers lurked behind the promises of information? The night hadn't just begun, it was about to take an unexpected turn. The streets seemed to pulse with an unsettling energy as I made my way to the Crimson Cafe. Neon lights flickered ominously, casting a harsh glow that illuminated the anticipation and dread crawling beneath my skin. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, each beat a reminder of the risk I was about to take. As I approached the cafe, the chatter inside rose and fell like the ebb and flow of the tide. I paused outside, taking a moment to collect myself, wondering again if this was a mistake. What if this stranger was working with my husband? What if they were part of the very facade I sought to dismantle? But I couldn't turn back now. Justice hung in the balance. Pushing the door open, a jingle announced my arrival. The scent of coffee and pastries wafted through the air, but it did little to calm my nerves. My eyes scanned the dimly lit room, searching for the source of that message. Then I saw her, a woman sitting at a small table, her back straight, her expression unreadable. She looked up as I approached, her gaze piercing. "You came," she said simply, her voice steady. "Who are you?" I demanded, trying to mask the quaver in my voice with bravado. "And what do you know about my husband?" "Let us not waste time," she replied, gesturing for me to sit. "I'm here because I know the truth. You deserve to know." I hesitated, clutching my bag tightly. "Why should I trust you? Aren't you tired of the lies?" She leaned in, lowering her voice. "I could help you take him down if that's what you want." Something in her tone rang true, a blend of irritation and compassion. I could sense that she had her reasons for being there too. Maybe she was just as tangled up in this web of deceit as I was. I took a seat, curiosity overcoming my caution. "What do you have for me?" I asked, my heart racing with a mix of hope and dread. "I know about the money. The payments he made to keep his little secret safe." Her words were a blade, slicing through the tension in the air. "Their essay document, an email trail that proves it all. It could destroy his career." I inhaled sharply, letting her words settle like weight in my chest. The evidence could ruin him. Could I really do this? Would I be able to go through with it, thrusting a dagger into the heart of our life together? "Where is it?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Not so fast. First, we need to talk about your plan. I'm not here to just hand you the information. I want accountability. He needs to understand the consequences of his actions." Her eyes locked onto mine, filled with a desperate seriousness. The moment passed, and the cafe felt smaller, closing in on us. I was teetering on a precipice of revenge and morality. Did I even want to drag him down this road? What if it backfires? What if it puts me in danger? I stammered, fear bubbling up. "Risk is a part of this game," she said, her voice steady and unwavering. "He plays dirty, and it's time somebody started fighting back." Her words resonated deep inside me, awakening a part of me that had long been buried under the weight of betrayal and heartache. Was I willing to fight back? Before I could respond, the door swung open, and a familiar figure stepped inside. My husband. My heart dropped, panic rising like bile in my throat. He scanned the room with an unsettling calm. Had he come to find me? Did he know? The decision had to be made now. Would I confront him tonight, or was I going to let this chance slip away? A storm brewed between us, answers and confrontations hung in the air like daggers. What was I going to do? The tension tightened around us as curtains of fate began to draw. The air shifted in the cafe, thick with unspoken tension. My husband, Mark, lingered at the entrance, trying to blend into the shadows with an air of confidence that unnerved me more than I expected. His eyes glided over the room, grazing past our table as if sensing the charged atmosphere between the three of us. Is this your idea of a date night? His voice broke the silence, laced with sarcasm that sliced through my hesitation. Mark, I managed to say, my mouth dry, the truth burning at the back of my mind. What are you doing here? A little late-night coffee run, he replied, narrowing his gaze at me, then darting to the stranger sitting across from me. And who is your friend? I hesitated, my mind racing. I couldn't draw attention to this woman, the key to my unraveling world of lies. Just someone I met, I said, my voice faltering. The stranger beside me remained composed, her eyes shifting smoothly from my husband to me, an observer in this escalating confrontation. I hadn't asked for this. I hadn't wanted to be caught in the crossfire. Oh, I can see that. So, she's just a friend, Mark mocked, crossing his arms with a cocky smirk that ignited fury within me. Are you sharing secrets now? Should I be getting jealous? I could sense the cafe patrons turning their attention toward us, their mingling voices hushed as they leaned in, sharpening their ears to this very public skirmish. The tension was palpable, a collective breath held, as if we were all teetering on an edge. What do you want from me, Mark? I asked, desperation clinging to my words. Maybe I want to know what's going on, he replied, his tone flat yet intimate, as though he was willing to peel back layers just for me. You shouldn't be here with whoever she is. That woman, I said, gesturing toward her, can help me get some answers about you. The seconds stretched into eternity as his expression changed from incredulity to a cold calculation. The warmth in his eyes dimmed, replaced with something dark and unreadable. Answers? He echoed, the word hanging in the air like a heavy stone. What good would they do? You'd be better off staying blissfully ignorant. I felt a shiver crawl down my spine. Was he threatening me? Or maybe you should just leave the truth buried, he added, casting a pointed look at the woman beside me, a subtle warning. It won't stay buried, I snapped, my anger flaring like a lit fuse. I'm done hiding from you and your lies. The cafe felt like it was spinning, every face turned toward us, holding their breath as the room pulsed with energy. There was no turning back now. The moment swelled with possibilities, the weight of my choices pinning me in place. Mark broke into a sardonic smile. Oh, how dramatic. And I thought we were going to have a quiet evening. But if you want to dig into my affairs, I guess I'll just have to dig into yours. Then, in one swift motion, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, his eyes narrowing as he pressed a few buttons. Time slowed. I felt the collective gasp rise from the other patrons. What are you doing? I demanded, panic rising in my throat. Just sending a little reminder that the walls have ears and the night is still young, he stated, his gaze sharp as he lowered the phone. My heart raced. What had he just done? The cafe felt like a ticking time bomb, and I realized in that moment it was all spiraling out of control. Everything I had worked for was hanging by a thread. Could I confront him now, or would I have to face the repercussions of my choices? The truth loomed ahead, but at what cost? As I faced him, my resolve hardened. Somewhere within me, I knew that no matter what happened next, I had to fight back, but how? And just as the storm reached its peak, the hum of my phone vibrated against the table, a chilling message lighting up the screen one I never saw coming. What had Mark unleashed? My fingers trembled as I stared at the screen, the message blinking ominously. We're watching. You have until midnight. My breath hitched, and my eyes darted from the phone to Mark's shadowy figure, now seemingly effortless in his control. The cafe's muted whispers felt like a roaring crowd in my ears, suffocating, pressing in tighter with every glance. What was that? Mark's voice hissed, cutting through the chaos, as he leaned closer. The sarcasm had fled from his tone, replaced by a chilling edge. I don't know. I stuttered, my heart racing, realizing I couldn't let him see my fear. I snapped my mouth shut, fighting against my instincts to reveal too much. Show me, he commanded, each word laced with authority that sent a shiver through me. The ominous energy suffocated the air between us as I hesitated, weighing my options. The stranger beside me, who had been silently observing, leaned in slightly, brushing her hair behind her ear. You might want to let him see it. Sometimes, knowledge is safer than ignorance. I caught her eye, sensing a flicker of understanding that mirrored my own turmoil. But was this a game I could afford to play? Mark's presence felt like a dark cloud ready to unleash a storm. Yes, right, Mark said, his eyes narrowing further. You're standing on a tightrope, and one wrong move could send you tumbling over the edge. I was backed against a wall, my options closing in like a vice. I exhaled, letting the fight rise within me. I am not afraid of you. I shot back, gripping my phone tighter. This was my moment to reclaim a part of my power, even if it felt minuscule against his looming threat. Mark laughed, but it was devoid of warmth. You think this is about fear? It's about survival. Around us, the cafe buzzed with an uncomfortable energy, eyes still glued to our escalating confrontation. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with a new notification. My heart raced as I swiped to see who it was. Another message. You should know better than to question what lies beneath. Who is it? Mark's voice dropped an octave, the menace creeping back in. I don't know, I said, and the desperation in my voice was unmistakable now. The weight of the unknown bore down on me. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a precipice, and a single gust could send me toppling into darkness. Mark's eyes flared, something flickering behind their surface. If you want to dig into my affairs, I hope you're prepared for my secrets. His voice chilled the air. Are you ready for the truth? The question hung there like a guillotine above my head, the tension thick enough to choke. Everything I thought I knew about him could come crashing down, shattering my world in one revelation. My heart raced. What lay behind those secrets? What truths were hidden, and why did I feel like a pawn in a much larger game? At that moment, the cafe door swung open, sending a rush of cold air swirling through the room. A figure stepped inside, cloaked in shadows, and every eye in the establishment turned to the newcomer. My breath caught in my throat. Who is that? I whispered, fear creeping back in. Mark grinned, and for the first time, I saw a hint of genuine amusement. Let the show begin, he murmured, a sinister promise threading through his words. The night was turning dangerous, and secrets hung like a noose around my neck. As the stranger approached, my heart raced with the realization that everything was about to shift again. Who would they reveal, and what would become of me when the mask finally slipped? The figure moved through the cafe with a slow, deliberate grace. A long trench coat swayed as they walked, the hood drawn low enough to obscure their face. The air thickened with anticipation. I could feel every eye in the room glued to this newcomer, including mine, pounding like a drum in my chest. Mark leaned back slightly, a glint of excitement in his eyes, as though he and the stranger shared an unspoken connection. You'll want to pay attention. Trust me, he said, his voice almost playful, but laced with something sinister. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was all part of a show, a twisted, dangerous performance where I was the unwitting lead. I swallowed hard, shaking my head slightly, as if that could dispel the weight building in my gut. With a firm push against the fear clawing at me, I forced myself to stay focused. The cafe was hushed now, breaths held. As the figure stepped closer, the stranger paused, scanning the room with a presence that felt magnetic. A few patrons whispered among themselves, expressions morphing from curiosity to concern. What is going on? One middle-aged man whispered, his eyes darting back and forth. An unsettling tension hung in the air, electrifying. It was like a live wire waiting for someone to touch it. My heart raced, each beat echoing in my ears. Do I have your attention now? The figure murmured, a voice smooth yet commanding, cutting through the room like a knife. I was transfixed, trying to glean any hint of identity. The figure lowered the hood, revealing striking features under a cascade of dark hair, sharp eyes, glinting like shards of ice. They met my gaze, and an eerie chill ran down my spine. It was as if they could see right through me, peeling back the layers of my anxious thoughts, exposing my vulnerabilities. I know who you are, they said, directing their words at me with unsettling confidence. And I know what you've stumbled into. Flashes of doubt and fear raced through my mind. What did this stranger want? How did they know about me? Before I could gather a response, another message flashed on my phone, vibrating violently against my palm. The pieces are all in place. Don't let fear control you. Mark watched, anticipation dancing in his eyes as he leaned forward. You think you're ready for the truth? His challenge hung in the air, thick and heavy, threatening to suffocate me. The cafe buzzed with murmurs, and I could feel the collective breath of the crowd. My palms felt clammy. I steadied myself. What truth? I asked, though my voice trembled on the edges. It was a gamble, would revealing my curiosity strengthen my position or expose my weaknesses. About Mark, the figure said, their voice suddenly low, intimate, conspiratorial. The cafe felt smaller, as if the walls were inching in, listening to secrets that could tear lives apart. I turned to Mark, searching for something in his eyes. What are they talking about? My voice wavered. But it was too late. The die had been cast. Mark's expression morphed, his confidence cracking like glass under pressure. You shouldn't listen to them, he warned, though a hint of uncertainty seeped through. They don't know I know everything. The figure interrupted smoothly. I've been watching you, Mark. I know what you've done. The cafe erupted in gasps. Shockwave after shockwave rippled through the crowd, eyes darting between us. Suddenly, Mark's charming demeanor melted. You don't know what you're messing with, he warned, an icy edge to his voice that sent a shiver down my spine. I realized then that I stood on the precipice of knowledge that could unravel everything, not just about Mark, but about a world I had unwittingly stepped into. Are you ready for the truth? The figure echoed, their eyes glimmering with a dangerous allure. I felt every heartbeat in my ears, trembling against the impending collapse. With the clock ticking closer to midnight, the gravitational pull of the unknown drew me in. But was I prepared for the storm that lay just ahead? The tension in the cafe crackled, suffocating. I could feel the weight of everyone's eyes on me, their curiosity mingled with fear. Mark's face transformed, veins popping in his neck, his earlier bravado shattering. Stop, he hissed, glancing around as if the very walls might betray him. The air thickened as the figure leaned in closer, their confident smirk sending a shiver down my spine. Is it too late to pretend this isn't happening? I muttered, barely above a whisper, but the figure's piercing gaze held me captive. No one's leaving until the truth is out, they replied, their voice dripping with a chilling calmness. The cafe felt like a pressure cooker, and I was about to crack open the lid. Mark? I turned back to him, but he was visibly unraveling. What truth? Each word felt heavy, as if I were yanking it from deep within him. Don't listen to them, he snapped, his composure slipping. You don't know who you're dealing with. Who am I dealing with, then? I shot back, desperate for some clarity as my stomach twisted with dread. The figure lifted an eyebrow, delighting in the drama. Take his silence as confirmation, sweetheart. You know him better than anyone. The murmurs in the cafe turned into a low roar, tension snapping like a rubber band, and my heartbeat quickened. I couldn't back away. I needed answers. You can't be this naive. Mark's voice trembled, a mixture of panic and regret. They don't care about you. This is just a game to them. This is not a game, the figure interjected smoothly, and somehow, the tone in their voice disarmed the crowd. What we're discussing is far more serious than your petty fears. Then tell me. I demanded, my voice rising. Just tell me what I need to know. Silence fell for a breath before the figure spoke, leaning slightly closer. Mark is not who he claims to be. He has secrets, deals that could shatter everything you thought you knew, everything you thought you had. My breath hitched. What kind of deals? The figure smiled, revealing a glint of mischief in their eyes. Talk will get you nowhere. I have proof. They reached into their coat and pulled out a flash drive, holding it up like a trophy. This contains everything. Financial records, communications. All of it. People in the cafe slowly began leaning in closer, greedily absorbing every word. I could see the disbelief and worry, the faces reflecting my own confusion. And why should I trust you? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. Trust me or don't. It won't change what's south on this drive. Their words hung in the air, heavy and ominous. A flicker of dread ignited behind my ribcage. Mark's perfect image was beginning to crack under the pressure of the revelations. There was sweat forming at his brow, a bead trickling down as his facade crumbled piece by piece. Let it go, Mark spat, anguish etched on his features. This isn't about you. Then who is it about? I pressed, though I was beginning to fear the answer. A quiet ripple of unrest coursed through the patrons. They sensed the shifting tide, like prey feeling the predator lurking. The figure chuckled, as if enjoying the show. "Oh, darling, it's about everything. About power, betrayal, and just how far one will go to protect their secrets. I suggest you listen." Suddenly, my phone buzzed once more, the familiar urgency returning. I glanced down to find another message from the unknown sender. "The truth is your weapon. Choose your ally wisely." I was standing at a crossroads, the weight of decision pressing against my chest like a vice. Mark was desperate now, fear pouring from him. And in that moment, I realized, by confronting these truths, I could either save him or destroy everything he built. What would I choose? As the clock struck midnight, the cafe door swung open, and a gust of wind swept in like an omen. A dark shadow in the doorway caught my eye, revealing another figure, another player in this twisted game. "Who are you?" I breathed, feeling the ground shift beneath me as panic gripped the room. "Someone who can help," the newcomer said, their voice echoing with authority. But help from whom? And at what cost? As tension tightened again, I felt more uncertain than ever. The real storm was brewing, and I was right in its eye. "Someone who can help," the newcomer said, their voice steady, cutting through the tension like a knife through butter. I squinted, trying to determine their intentions. The darkness in the cafe seemed to deepen around them, highlighting their sharp features and confident stance. They weren't just another face in the crowd. They radiated authority. "What do you mean, help?" I asked, my heart pounding. "Step outside with me," they urged, an unsettling smile tugging at their lips that sent a shiver down my spine. "Not happening," Mark interjected, his voice shaking with a mix of anger and fear. "You don't know who you're trusting." The figure rolled their eyes, seemingly amused by Mark's desperation. "Oh, sweetheart, you underestimate the power of the truth. Your boyfriend here has a lot more at stake than just his precious facade." The patrons shifted, their eyes darting between Mark and this new arrival. Would the truth really shatter the illusion? "Tell me what you know," I yelled, desperation edging my voice. "Calm down. All in good time," the mysterious figure said, waving a hand as if brushing my fear away. "But you might want to act quickly. Time isn't on your side." "Time until what?" I shot back, tears of confusion stinging my eyes. Before they could answer, the cafe door swung open again, and another gust of wind swooped through. I instinctively turned, but my ears were caught on a hushed conversation behind me. A group of people had gathered at the entrance, their faces murky shadows. One of them detached from the group, stepping into the light. It was a woman, her expression twisted in a mixture of determination and fear. "Mark, we need to talk," she yelled, her voice rising above the chatter. "Who is she?" I demanded, anxiety spiking. "Another ghost from the past," Mark muttered, his previous bravado fading away completely. "The past you tried to bury," the woman replied, fury crackling in her tone. "But nothing stays buried forever." Gasps echoed around the cafe. Whispers erupted as the crowd leaned in, straining to catch every word. The weight of the moment pressed down on me, thick and suffocating. "Why now?" Mark's voice barely broke through the tension. "Because history has a way of rewriting itself," she shot back, each word sharp enough to cut. "You've built an empire, but empires crumble, and you know it." Mark stepped back, the walls of his constructed reality closing in. His eyes darted around, searching for an escape, but every exit felt blocked. "Enough!" I screamed, my lungs burning. "What is happening? Who are all of you?" The newcomer moved closer, weaving between tables. "Just allies fighting for the truth. And right now, it's about to surface." "What truth?" I pressed, my heart hammering against my ribs. "The truth," the first figure said, "of dirty money, shady deals, and how deeply entangled you are in it all." As I processed their words, my phone buzzed viciously again, the screen lighting up with another message. "The clock is ticking. Remember, trust is a fragile thing." Suddenly, the cafe felt even smaller, the walls closing in, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Everyone was waiting for a spark. I could sense the fraying threads of loyalty, desires laid bare, and alliances on the verge of snapping. "Enough waiting. You have to choose," the first figure urged, urgency lacing their voice. "Who will it be? The one who gave you everything, or the one who can blow it all apart?" I swallowed hard. My mind whirled, wrestling with betrayals, fear, and the need for self-preservation. The fear of what would come next sent a chill through me. I was caught, and it felt like I was balancing on a knife's edge. The game was changing rapidly, and in this deadlock of loyalty and deception, I fought to stay grounded. What if I don't choose? I asked, knowing the stakes were too high, understanding that whatever I decided would set off a chain reaction I might never be able to control. The silence was deafening, and I was left staring at the kaleidoscope of choices ahead. The storm was far from over, and I could sense it building again. Then a loud crash shattered my thoughts, the cafe wall splintering as a figure burst through. "Get down!" they shouted, spraying chaos across the room. My heart raced as panic cascaded over the crowd. What fresh hell had entered my reality now? The storm was here, and it had no mercy. The figure who had burst through the wall was wild-eyed, disheveled, and out of breath. Their entrance sent chairs tumbling and patrons scrambling to the corners, instinctively looking for safety. I froze, grappling with the weight of the chaos unfolding before me. My heart pounded in my ears, drowning out the confused whispers and gasps around me. "Get down, everyone, now," they repeated, urgency cutting their commands like a lifeline. I managed to snap out of my daze and drop to the floor, crawling beneath the nearest table. Mark's face was a mask of horror. He was a deer caught in headlights. "What is happening?" I shouted to him, my voice trembling. "Who is that?" "I don't know. Just stay down," he yelled back, his eyes darting around for a way out. The newcomer stood in the entrance, scanning the room. "We need to get them out," they shouted, pointing at the group by the windows. A sense of desperation mingled with fear swirled in my mind as I looked back at the mysterious figures. They were still watching Mark with distrust and grim anticipation. "Why are we hiding?" I shot back, frustration bubbling. "What is going on?" The disheveled figure stepped forward, wave after wave of panic washing over the crowd, and finally spoke. "They're coming. We need to move now." "Who is coming?" I asked, but my voice was swallowed by another crash as the back door splintered open. A shadowy figure filled the entrance, their silhouette sharp and menacing, a gun glinting in their hand. The barista screamed, and the sound ricocheted around the cafe like a bullet, igniting a primal urge to flee. "Everyone, out the back!" yelled the newcomer again, ushering the crowd with frantic gestures. There was a rush to the emergency exit, but my gaze was glued to Mark. He stood frozen, his eyes wide with realization. The woman from before, the one who stirred the storm inside me, was now tearing her focus between Mark and the chaos. "You have to get him out," she told the newcomer. "Now." I caught the hint of betrayal in her eyes, a whirlwind of emotions racing through me. Had he done something to her too? There was too much at stake, and all I could think about was how interconnected everything had become. Before I could make my decision, the newcomer grabbed my arm. "Come on." "No, I can't leave him." I struggled against their grip, desperate to stay with Mark. "Your life is on the line. You need to trust me." They were relentless, speaking with an authority that left no room for argument. As I hesitated, another crash echoed, this one louder and closer, shaking me to my core. I finally tore my gaze from Mark's stricken expression, my feet moving almost on instinct, following the stranger toward the exit. But each step felt like I was abandoning a part of myself along the way. Just as we escaped into the alley behind the cafe, a deafening shot rang out, a sound so sharp it felt like a knife slicing through the air. My heart plummeted as fear gripped me. Behind us, chaos reigned in the cafe, the figure at the doorway now letting loose a barrage of threats, their voice echoing in the night. "Mark," I screamed, twisting around, desperate to see him one last time. "Yes, fine. He'll follow," the newcomer insisted, urgency lacing their voice. But a dawning realization struck. Mark could no longer be trusted. Everything I thought I knew was crumbling, one revelation at a time. That we ducked into a shadowed corner, breathless. The air was thick with tension, and an overwhelming question pulsed in my mind. How could the truth be so twisted? And then I felt a phone vibrating in my pocket. I pulled it out to see a new message lighting up the screen. "We know where you are. Don't get comfortable." My heart dropped as the finality of those words weighed heavy on me. I was no longer just a bystander in this chaotic mess. I was in deep, and every choice I made from here on out could cost me everything. "Are you ready to learn the truth?" the newcomer asked, their voice steady yet filled with a hint of foreboding. What choice did I have left? The storm was raging, and my only hope was to face it head on. But the question lingered in the air, electrifying the night. What truth awaited me? The alley felt like a sanctuary, but the tension hung thick in the air. I turned to the newcomer, breathing heavily, aware of the chaos that raged just behind us. What do you know? Who are you? I'm someone who can help you navigate the storm, they replied, eyes scanning the shadows. But you need to listen. There's no time to waste. I hesitated, fear curling tightly around my chest. The cafe had erupted into chaos, and now, I knew Mark's betrayal ran deeper than I had ever imagined. Their revelation echoed in my mind. Truths always come crashing down. Why should I trust you? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, though never had I felt the need for someone to believe. Because I know what's at stake, the newcomer said, intensity flooding their gaze. Mark has ties to something much bigger than you or me. It's dangerous, bigger than betrayal. Dread seeped into my thoughts, realizing I was in too deep. What had I started? The message on my phone flickered back into my mind. We know where you are. My heart thudded. The threat felt personal now. It's not safe here. We have to move. The newcomer's urgency sliced through my fears. With a nod, I understood the gravity of my decision to follow them into the unknown. We darted down the alley, ghosts of our former lives trailing behind us. Each heartbeat felt louder, and each shadow I passed felt alive, as if they too were part of this twisted game that we emerged onto a deserted street, the night air sending a chill down my spine. Outside the cocoon of the cafe, the world felt unsteady, threatening to crumble under the weight of those lurking in the dark. You need to stay close, they warned, leading me toward a waiting car. As we climbed inside, I couldn't help but breathe a little easier. But the whirlwind of emotions still churned within me. What is your name? I asked, needing a connection, something to tether me back to reality. Call me Alex. Simple, yet in that moment, it felt like more than a name. It signaled a bond, a potential alliance in a world dominated by deceit. Alex, what do we do now? I asked, searching their eyes for answers. Alex inhaled deeply, hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. We need to find the evidence. I know there's a server with everything Mark's kept hidden from you, but we have to move quickly. This truth is a double-edged sword. If it gets into the wrong hands, everything could collapse. My heart sank. And what if I don't want to ruin him? What if I faltered, my mind racing to protect what was left of our life? Is there anything left to protect? Alex's voice softened just enough to break the wall I had built. I realized in that moment, Mark's lies had already destroyed too much. The car lurched forward, speeding away from the darkness that wanted to swallow us whole. As I peered out the window into the night, an idea frozen in that world of lies came rushing back. What about the payments? The email trail, how do I get access to it? Mark can't know we're onto him. He has connections that will stop at nothing to keep his empire standing, Alex replied, their voice steady. We'll need to move carefully, blend in to shield ourselves from prying eyes. A sense of determination flooded me. I couldn't reveal weakness now. If I was going to take back control, I needed to embrace my power, shatter the boundaries he had built around me. Then let us expose him, I said resolutely, adrenaline surging with each word. Are you sure? Because once we start this, there's no going back, Alex cautioned. Let us not act like I haven't been pushed off a cliff already. I shot back, knowing there was no turning back. I've lost too much to walk away now. With that declaration, the wheels of fate began turning. The streets blurred outside as we made our way to the hidden location Alex outlined. Two minds locked in a unity like a fiery storm brewing. It felt empowering, the passionate surge of taking charge, writing my own ending. Here, Alex said as we pulled up in front of an unassuming building. It wasn't much, but it was where the storm would culminate. Taking a steadying breath, I stepped out into the night, feeling every heartbeat echoing a countdown. We moved through the narrow entrance, ready to face whatever truths awaited. Inside, my pulse raced, each beat a resonance of fear and resolve. I recalled the bitter moments with Mark, the laughter turned to memories tainted with deceit. But those memories now fueled my purpose. I could not be a victim anymore. As we stepped into the darkened room, the glow of computers illuminated the secrets that could tear Mark apart. The energy crackled through the air, anticipation hanging thick. I took a seat in front of the primary computer, fingers poised above the keyboard. What do I do? I asked, ready to dive headfirst. Bring up the files, Alex instructed. Let us get what we need. With a steadying breath, I typed rapidly, entering passwords and commands. Each click echoed through my mind, fragmenting the fortress he had built around my life. I could see it now, the financial records, the illicit transactions. I was unearthing the truth piece by piece, but with every answer I brought forth, I felt a pang of sorrow. My heart ached for what we lost along the way. Yet with every click, I also felt the power seep back into my core, a steadiness that fortified my resolve. And then it hit me. Among the data, there was a specific file, a payment trail that led deeper into the darkness of his empire, revealing the cost of betrayal. I felt the electric charge in the air as everything began to unravel. Suddenly, a loud crash behind us sent my heart stopping. I spun around, instinct screaming. What was that? Panic surged through my veins. Stay down, Alex shouted, pulling me back as the door swung open. There stood Mark, fury etched on his face, flanked by figures I recognized from his world, his loyalties rallying against me. Did you really think you could get away with this? He boomed, his voice shaking with a mix of anger and defeat. That I gripped the edge of the desk, adrenaline coursing. You don't owe me anymore, Mark. This is my truth now. You're a child playing a game far beyond your comprehension. He spat, his confidence wavering. Maybe, I said, resolve hardening my voice. But I'm not afraid anymore. In that moment, I felt something shift, an empowering surge of authority, and I stood tall, unyielding against the storm. Enough, I shouted, and the thundering silence swallowed the room like a shackling force. Mark's eyes widened, a flicker of fear igniting his facade. And in that tension, the air shimmered, my truth clamping down on the freshly woven web of lies, that I could feel the walls of his empire quaking under my unwavering strength. This was liberation. Give me the drive, Alex said steadily, and I turned toward them. Now it's time to decide. Parallel paths hung in the air, loyalties and truths clashing violently. The moment had arrived to set this twisted world aflame and rise anew from the ashes of betrayal. The storm was finally breaking, and I was ready to step into the light. As we faced them together, Mark's facade crumbling, my heart pounding, and the truth lying bare on the table, I knew one thing. Today, I would take back everything he had stolen from me. That I smiled, my heart racing with the charge of newfound power, ready to unleash the storm I'd been holding back for so long. The empire was about to come tumbling down, and I was going to be the one holding the hammer, and Mark, he was about to learn what true power felt like. As reality hung thick in the air, the revelation ignited a fire within each of us, letting go of the past, not for the thrill of revenge, but for my own future, one where I could finally be free. The door had closed on the life I once knew. It was time to break the mold, and with each shared breath, I understood I would fight for my place. And in that moment, everything changed. Now, my journey wasn't just about survival. It was a quest to reclaim joy, strength, and finally, purpose. The storm raged on, but I was determined to dance in the rain of my own making. This isn't just a story, it's a journey of resilience. If you felt the intensity of this finale, this is your moment to connect. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Each one promises to deliver heart-pounding excitement. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. We need your support. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Your thoughts matter. Finally, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this explosive conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share. True fans know the importance of supporting our community.